What is up, gamers? It's Animac here from Anime Uproar, and welcome to another episode of the One Piece Virgin, the episode where we get caught up to chapter 999. Wow, guys, we did it. Nux and Briggs.
Yo, I can't believe this. So we're officially caught up to the official release. Animac just went from being a One Piece virgin to becoming a One Piece Chad, and you'd love to see it.
Yes. I do love to see it. That's huge,
man.
Bro.
It is huge. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, honestly, but it's been an amazing journey. And what we're gonna do for chapter 1000, because the official translation is not out yet, so next week we're gonna talk about chapter 1000 and what we think is going to happen with the story from here. And then, yeah, it's the Wild West, boys, because we are caught up, and it's just so crazy, man. Like, what happened to Joy Boy and Vegapunk? We don't know anything yet. I thought we would know all these things by the time we got caught up.
The amount of times, like,
feel our pain.
In the first 200 chapters that Animac expressed his excitement to find out what would happen with the Void Century and Vegapunk, and we're just like, yeah, yo, it's hype.
I didn't even want to say we didn't figure anything out. It was just like, yeah, man. And every time he would say something like, is it possible that this happened in the Void Century? And we're both like, I don't know. Is it possible?
Yeah, and I'm thinking you guys know, you just don't want to tell me. Meanwhile, you guys are like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Isn't that sick? Bro. Yo, but in all honesty, you got to feel pretty proud of yourself that you caught up to one of the greatest stories ever told. You know? Yeah,
no, I am proud of that, but I'm also proud of the journey that we had together. Because if I just did this on my own without, talking to it about it every week with you guys and the chat and everything, it wouldn't have been as epic, I don't think.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's
by the way,
chat.
Everyone listening to the podcast, I want you to do me a favor. Follow us on Twitch, rankcafe.tv, or just twitch.tv/rankcafe, because next episode, which we're going to record live on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I do want to see you guys in chat, giving us some feedback for what you want us to do with the podcast from now, and also what kind of content, One Piece related, I should make on my Anime Uproar channel as the One Piece virgin turned Chad, because I haven't made any One Piece videos because I haven't been caught up, but now I feel like motivated. Like, I have a whole freaking whiteboard full of like clues about the Void Century, bro. It's like Joy Boy, and we have the poneglyphs, and then we have Noah, and man, I need to get this shit out there somewhere. So I would definitely appreciate your guys' feedback. So check us out on Twitch, because there we can interact more actively.
Twitch game, let's go.
Yeah, and there's a lot to get into in these 25 chapters that we covered. So much stuff has happened, and some of it was great. So I really do want to talk about it. But first, I do want to also say that our Dragon Ball Virgin podcast is ongoing on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on
Twitch.
On Twitch, and same Twitch. And I will be a special guest tomorrow in the next episode, because we are covering Goku's first transformation into Super Saiyan against Frieza, my favorite childhood moment from Dragon Ball. So I can't wait to do that. So you can catch me as a special guest tomorrow. And you can also catch the Dragon Ball Virgin on all the podcast platforms. Just search for it.
Yeah. And this week on One Piece Virgin, what did we cover, Animac? 974 or
975 to 999. And next week, we're going to be covering 1000 to 1054. Oh, wait. Oh, wait,
Oh,
bro.
wait, we're caught up. God damn.
We are caught up. That's pretty crazy.
All right, so take her away.
Okay, so we have, like I said, a lot of stuff. So I have 57 pages of notes, by the way, altogether on One Piece throughout the podcast. And in my latest notes, the first thing I have here is Denjiro's epic reveal. So he stayed hidden so as not to alert the spy. And then we had the whole thing about last week. We thought that the entire plan was compromised and the raid failed because Kanjuro, the traitor, revealed it all after Kinemon told him everything, right? That was the idea. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that Kinemon misread the secret instructions himself. And so he told the spy that the Allies were gathering at the wrong port. So in the end, the raid was not actually disrupted, and the attack was still good to go.
Yes, because Kinemon was such big brain. He saw this coming from a mile away.
Yeah, saying about how Kinemon is actually an actual garbage character.
Yeah. No. So people thought that it was like a big brain move on his part. Like he knew there was a traitor, so he specifically, gave the wrong information to smoke the traitor out. But in reality, he just didn't.
But
he
like
misread himself.
They should have known that there was a traitor. Like it must have been one of the scabbards or whatever, because they were like, it happened 20 years ago and it's happening again. Someone's clearly giving away information. I guess they just trusted each other so much that they didn't want to believe it.
Someone high up. It had to be someone high up. I don't think any of them wanted to believe it was a scam.
Yeah. They didn't want to believe. They didn't want to believe that it was, one of the 9. So they just couldn't kind of come to terms with that. And also, it's kind of like when you're playing Among Us with Nux and he's like, trust. And you're like, Nux, man, I don't know. I don't know. You're really sus. And he's like, guys, trust. Right?
Triangle of trust, bro. Thing. Triangle of trust. Or I guess whatever. How many scabbards are there? 8, 9?
9.
I can't think of a 9-sided shape.
Scab.
Never mind. I was hoping it was 8.
It's hard to keep track of. I will say, in terms of Wano, there are so many characters. It's impossible to keep track.
Decagram of trust. I think.
Bro.
No. Decagram is 10.
Yeah, Dec is 10.
The thing about Wano is it is definitely realistic that in a war, and essentially, Wano is currently at war. It is realistic that many people will be involved. We have thousands of people involved. However, it is from a storytelling perspective hard to keep track of all those people, all those factions, all those names, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like I feel like I'm not the only one that when I see a name, it's like, oh hey, I should know this guy. Who the fuck?
Yeah, like low key Denjiro reveal when it happened. Like I guess reading it in bulk like you are is much better because I remember reading it weekly. I'm like, who the fuck is Denjiro? Like it was supposed to be this massive reveal, but like I don't remember a Denjiro because that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, so I was okay with Denjiro, but like with some of these like Kaido's guys, like obviously I know Jack. But all the other ones, the factions, the headliners, the this and that, I'm like, bro,
the numbers, the 6 flyers, the 18 boogaloos.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh yeah, like I know Black Maria, like my girl. I know her. I won't forget her.
The hell is Black Maria?
What do you mean? It's sexy, huge spider girl.
I was joking, but yes.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, cool. Knocks you past this step. Bro, can we talk about Jinbei's return?
Yo, I love Jinbei's return. Yo, hold on. Before Jinbei's return, we have something epic. Okay, first of all we have the three dudes fighting as one, and then they get the info that wait a second, Big Mom and Kaido teamed up.
It just feels like the odds are so against them more than ever. Like there's not just one Yonko and a whole fucking army. You're facing off against 2 Yonkos now.
And they think it's 2 armies.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Big Mom has a ship incoming as well.
Even if there was no armies and it was just Kaido and Big Mom, it's like, how? How are you gonna pull this off?
Yeah, and it just keeps getting worse. But I do like that Night of the Sea Jinbei shows up because as a massive Jinbei stan since day 1, it's good to see my boy.
First son of the sea.
What I said? What?
I think you said Knight of the Sea.
I suppose.
But I think it's the first son of the sea. Yeah.
No, you're reading a different version.
Yeah, we're reading the official release, Nox.
Jinbei, the Knight of the Sea.
Yeah, bro. Like we don't read your French release.
All right, it comes out earlier in French. Of course, I'm gonna read it in French.
Le Chevalier du Mer, bro.
Hey, you got it.
Yeah. So Jinbei's return was sick because, like you said, things are not looking good. And then we have Denjiro show up. It's like, okay, they're a little bit better. And then Jinbei just crushes all those like long-term, what's it called? Like those long-range cannons, which were just pounding the samurai ships. Jinbei shows up and he's just like, boop, 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 boop.
That's what he did.
Dude, also, when he shows up, Law and Kid are like, what? He's joining the Straw Hats? And then Jinbei, yo, you know how you always have like that little character panel? Like the little rectangle that's like, Jinbei, Warlord of the Sea. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It says Jinbei, Helmsman of the Straw Hat Pirates.
Yes, and later on in the story, he says that is his more preferred or more honored title. helmsman of the Straw Hats more so than Warlord of the Sea.
Which is a pretty huge... He's a real bro. I love Jinbei. He's had his mind set straight since day one. Like, literally.
Dude, I love looking at
Jinbei
like
is a
Kid's and
champ.
Law's reaction. Like these got because you got that one panel where it was just like Kid, Law, and Luffy a few chapters back, and it's so cool because like whatever they're the three big supernovas, and then like just to see like them seeing Jinbei joining the Straw Hats is just mind blowing.
Yeah, because it's funny. They're working together now to take down a bigger enemy, which is the current powers of the world, which is Kaido and Big Mom. But in essence, they're kind of rivals.
They're still rivals at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and kind of Kid, you will see the Kid later on, he gets kind of agitated. It's like, Law and Luffy are having all the fun, so then he goes ham as well.
Yeah.
So we learn that Kaido has a son named Yamato, who seems to be unruly and doesn't really obey the father. Surprisingly attractive son, but I don't want to talk about that now. I'll talk about that later. And he sends the Toby Romo, or Ropo or something.
Ropo.
Tony Romo, bro.
Yes.
Toby Ropo to...
The Flying Six have arrived. It's
bring
the 12
back the
numbers. It's the 16 Flyers. It's the 47 Beastmen. I love Kaido's army. He keeps track of his guys. I don't know. This man, everyone's making fun of his intelligence the whole time. This man needs to have a head like a phone book to freaking figure out what he calls different platoons in his army.
So Yamato is kind of hinted at, but then it's not revealed till later who Yamato is. But then we have the whole idea that the raid can still succeed because Kanjuro has not reached Orochi yet with the information about the failed sabotage. So Orochi and Kaido think that the sabotage has been successful. And because Kanjuro still hasn't arrived, because everyone on the island of Onigashima thinks that he is a samurai, so he has to like fight his way in to inform Orochi about the failure of the sabotage. They still have a chance. The samurai and the Straw Hats still have a chance to surprise Kaido and Orochi on the island and, deliver the first blow. So the raid is continuing as possible from 3 different directions. We have like the front door, the back door, the submarine. It's all happening. It's all happening.
Yo, I love Log Submarine.
Yo, Usopp should have tried to shoot down Kanjuro. Like he was up in the sky, and everyone just kind of let him go.
Well, because he would have hurt Momo.
That's true.
Weak mindset, kill the kid. Sorry.
Fuck them kids. Yeah, that's fair.
So yes, it was funny when they get in. So Kinemon is finally useful because he has his devil fruit make everyone look like one of Kaido's beast army. Like they all have the clothes and the horns and stuff to make them fit in, which is a great idea. Until, of course, Luffy gets all emotional and screws everything up. And then Zoro's like, Luffy, you idiot. And then Zoro also gets emotional and screws everything up. So that was pretty hilarious.
Dude, the entire time, Luffy and Zoro, it's like Law's trying to keep them under control, even when they first get to Wano and stuff, and they just can't do it. They can't.
No, it's so funny. It's like, great. Law, okay, we now have a secret plan. We must act in complete disguise. Luffy and Zoro meet each other. They like head-on attack
in the center of the capital.
Yeah. So it was funny because these people, these like Kaido soldier guys at the party were just like throwing away the food and drink that the poor people in Wano would have like loved to get a taste once a year of, and Luffy just couldn't handle it, and Zoro too. So they started this whole thing, and then Kid sees Apu the traitor, and then he's like, "Yo, fuck that guy," and then it goes down.
Yeah. And it was funny. The chapter you're talking about right now actually got the whole One Piece community in a bit of a tizzy because Apu slapped Luffy and Zoro. Like, as they were trying to escape.
Dude,
well,
it was so funny listening to people try to power scale Apu.
This is when I made my whole video talking about, like, power scaling and stuff, because the community went nuts. They're like, what? Apu is stronger than Luffy and Zoro. Apu is Emperor level, because Luffy's an Emperor, so Apu is Emperor level. I was like, oh, my lord.
Bruh.
Like, Dude, get a life.
He has
man.
a
First-
good
first of
ability
all,
that caught
Luffy-
them off guard. Chill.
They all
Luffy-
go nuts, and the next chapter, it's like Apu can't affect you if you close your ears. Okay,
That was hilarious,
shut up.
man.
Yeah, so Luffy definitely is not Yonko level yet. I don't know who is saying that.
Well,
but
Yonko level is a term that doesn't exist, Animag.
yeah, so
I think Yonko level, when I talk about it, is more about clout.
Clout. That's what I'm saying. It's a clout-based thing. It's not power-based.
but
Yeah,
the
but
thing
people
about
talk
Apu
about
is
it in
like
power as well. Go ahead.
yeah, like Apu had a devil fruit power that they weren't familiar with, and they were also their focus was not Apu. Their focus is getting to Kaido. So that's what happened there. But yeah, it was pretty funny how later on we realized that because Apu's power is music based, if you can't hear it, it doesn't affect you. I was like, all right, well that was pretty convenient.
No, but it's even
easy
funnier.
too.
Like they tell them to close their ears. This is like typical. So you know, in like the Ennis Lobby arc or whatever, we were talking about how like it's great and it's exciting and all that, but it's also hilarious. I was literally laughing out loud when they're running away from Apu, and Kid's like, close your ears, and Apu can't hurt you. And they close their ears, and Kid's like, okay, now follow my directions. And they're like, what? Can't hear you.
Oh, that's funny.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I found that very funny.
Speaking of funny, we had Zoro and Chopper seeing Big Mom naked in a spa.
Which is pretty sick, I guess.
Yeah, they were never the same after
And
that.
honestly, another one of the funniest scenes is like, you know, Pero Sparrow is currently like leading the Big Mom Pirates or whatever, and they're like going up the waterfall for the second time. They're like, "Yeah, baby, King isn't gonna kick us off now. We're allies. It's gonna be great." They get to the top, and Marco just kicks them off.
Dude, only One Piece can crack you up at like intense moments. Like, we're in the middle of a freaking war, and I've laughed so many times reading these chapters.
Dude, I love Marco. Also, it's so good to see the guy.
Mhm.
It's been way
Yeah.
too long.
Marco is back. The Phoenix Boy, also Izo, right?
Yep.
Izo is back, the brother of Kiku.
Yo, you want to know
we-
something insane?
Yes,
Speaking of
we
the
saw
One Piece community.
we saw Izo in Marineford. I remember that.
That's true. You want to know something insane? Speaking of the One Piece community, before the Wano arc started, Tekking made a video saying that Izo is probably a character from Wano who has ties with Odin because based on like the hairstyle or something that we saw in Marineford, and he was dead on.
Wow.
Like actual insanity.
Yeah, because Izo, he's dressed in like a kabuki woman's outfit.
I didn't even remember Izo existed.
I still don't know
yeah,
who
it's definitely
Izo is.
traditional Japanese.
I still don't know.
Izo
who
was one of Whitebeard's commanders.
Is it the
and
female
also-
commander?
No, he's not. He's a guy.
It's a dude. He looks feminine.
Well, it looks
but he's a
feminine.
dude.
Fair enough. Okay.
And this is, I think Izo has like 2 guns or something.
I know exactly who you're talking about now. I mean, I guess it's a pretty easy call to make. Everyone was looking forward to Wano. We knew
No,
it was
but it
going to
wasn't
be like,
a 5-minute theory. Like it was a 30-minute theory packed with evidence.
damn. So not just off of like outfit. Okay.
No, Tekking's a legend.
Yeah, so I mean, it fits because Odin was with Whitebeard and Izo was there too. Because didn't Izo follow Odin initially,
Yes.
like in the flashback?
Yep.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's good. Yeah, perfect. And,
Okay, so we had Marco and Izo showed up. They joined the fight. We had Luffy rescued by Yamato from Kaido's henchmen, which was like, why? Why would that happen? And then we got the big Yamato reveal.
That he's actually Odin.
Yes, exactly. Odin Kozuki. And yet very attractive.
And also, when Luffy bumps into Ulti and they're like staring each other down, everyone was like, "Oh my god, a waifu!" I'm telling you, man, the One Piece community is just a bunch of horny bastards.
Aren't
I
we
mean,
all?
isn't that every
Aren't we
anime
all?
community? That is literally every
That's fair.
anime community.
Yo, but I think that my heart goes out to Pero Sparrow, though. This man really trying to get in on the action, and no matter what he does, the poor dude can't get over that waterfall. He can't get into Wano for the life of him.
That's so
F's
funny.
in the chat for Pero Sparrow. God damn it.
Yeah, so Yamato is at first with the mask introduced officially in like those official what's it called? Like with the official subtitles or headings as the son of Kaido. But when Yamato takes the mask off, he's introduced as the daughter of Kaido and self-styled Odin Kozuki.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, what does this even mean? But it turns out that Yamato just really is obsessed with Odin.
Dude, I'm obsessed with Odin, dude. After watching Odin's death and his backstory, it's like, how can you not want to be a Chad like him?
Fair. That's fair. And before our introduction to Yamato's cool, because first of all, Luffy and Alti, like, they each headbutt each other, and Alti's fruit literally gives her a hard head. But Luffy can stand up to her just headbutting. And then the first time we meet Yamato, she Thunder Bagwas Alti. The same move that Kaido used to one-shot Luffy, Yamato used to one-shot Alti. And I was like, yo, this is insane! And then he's like, she is like, I am Yamato, son of Kaido. And then at the end, you find out that she's a waifu. That's only second place to Boa Hancock in the entirety of the One Piece story.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, and I've heard that people have like a debate over the gender situation with Yamato, but I really don't think it's a gender identity issue for Yamato. I think she's just really obsessed with Odin in particular.
Yeah,
I
think she just wants to be a Chad, bro.
She's a female, but she identifies as Odin, you know?
Yeah. She's Odin sexual, right?
But this is also Oda here, so we really don't know anything. You never know with Oda, right?
I mean, I don't know about your translation, but in my translation, when it shows the little rectangle bubble for Yamato, it says "Daughter of Kaido, self-proclaimed Kozuki Odin." Yamato.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, and also Yamato, when she takes off her mask, she has like a traditional female hairstyle and all that type of stuff. So to me, it's really not.
She's wearing female clothes too.
Yeah. To me, it's really not a gender issue in the modern sense. I think it would be ignorant.
How dare you, Nux? How dare you say that there's female clothes? I'm wearing a dress right now.
Okay.
Holy fuck, Shibuya Kaido!
Thanks for the raid!
Go! Thank you so much.
What?
Shibuya... Yo, thank you so much. If you ever want to come on the One Piece Virgin or
Rant Cafe,
you're always invited. Thank you so much.
Hope you had an amazing stream.
Hope you had a great stream. Hell yeah.
Anyway,
there are three genders: male, female, and Odin.
Yes, I agree. I think all of us can agree that we are to some extent Odin sexual.
100%, bro. I strive to be.
Like, I mean, if Yamato really was Odin reincarnated, that would be kind of hot. Not gonna lie.
I mean, they were both alive at the same time, but I agree.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. So the thing that seems to me with Yamato, my own interpretation, otherwise maybe, you know, Oda will correct it or clarify it, but Yamato seems to just suffer from a father complex in the sense that she was always told by Kaido, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to be this, you have to be that. And she saw the one man that stood up to Kaido, Odin, being so noble and so honorable. And she saw him as a child that when he was killed, she started kind of like standing him, and she started wanting to open up Wano just like he did. Eventually, she made friends with Ace and all this other stuff. So to me, I think she wants that persona of Odin to be embodied in who she is.
Yeah.
Not from a gender identity thing, but just from a kind of general uprising against Kaido thing.
Yeah, and also, it's a crazy cool parallel that you got Kaido and Odin, where Kaido's child is basically like Odin, and Odin's child is a dragon, like becomes a dragon. Like, it's a cool parallel also.
Mm.
And the first thing Yamato says, like, when she takes off her mask is, "You remind me of Ace." It's like, what?
Yes. Yes, so that was kind of the first reveal, and then later on we find out that Ace, back when he was in Wano, I'm guessing at the same time he met that little girl, he also met Yamato.
She has a name that I don't remember.
Yeah, well, help me out here, man.
No, I cannot believe it. I was about to say something that, wait, what are you talking about? It's like alluded to. There's this whole thing, and then I'm like, oh, goddamn, that's in chapter 1000. guys didn't read chapter 1000.
Otama, yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually remember the name. I was just trolling this time. I am Goldfish
Oh, you
Briggs,
did
but not
remember?
always. Yeah. Otama's great. I love her. Like, she just, like, came to the war, and I think it was in chapter, like, 999 or 998. Like, I don't know. It's great. And that whole reveal with Yamato, and they were talking about Ace as well, with Otama. Anyone? No? Okay.
Look, I don't remember exactly what part of the Ace thing was in chapter 1000 and what wasn't, so I don't want to say anything.
Yeah,
but,
that's fair.
Chapter
So what was your
1000
question, Briggs? Sorry, I missed that.
No, I was just talking about how, like, it was just whatever. Yamato had so many cool interactions. Like Nux just said, the first interaction she had with Luffy was like, "You remind me of Ace," and then we were talking about how Otama also had connections with Ace and actually made like some comments that would potentially upset a normal person, but Luffy obviously wasn't upset. And we had a cool moment where Yamato and Otama actually met later on, but that's kind of going out of order.
Yeah. It's going out of
So
order.
in terms of Yamato, I'm definitely like, I love her character, but I'm also kind of concerned about her mental health because she has these moments where she's like, "I'm Yamato," and then other ones she's like, "Momo, it's my son. I have to rescue him," and I'm like, "What?"
Nani?
Like,
Honestly,
like, are you?
I'm a little weirded out that you guys are having that discussion in front of me. I mean, I am Kozuki Oden also, so like, this is kind of weird.
I was in the
It's like,
process
yeah,
of tweeting out that
so-
I sexually identify as Kazuki Oden.
Yeah, it's funny. We're like, Nux, like, yeah, we all like Kozuki Oden. It's like, no, I am literally Kozuki Oden guy.
No, I get you like Odin, but my son was captured in this little few chapters, okay?
Yeah, but so Yamato wants to leave the island and travel on Luffy's ship. That was suggested, just like kind of Odin left and traveled with Whitebeard and Roger, because apparently Ace had promised Yamato to return and take her with him away from Kaido to defeat Kaido and take her.
Sorry to interrupt you, Animac. I love you with my whole heart and soul.
Sorry.
Shibuya Kaho in the chat just said, Boa Hancock made the show more colorful. You're
Let's
right.
go.
Boa Hancock is easily best girl in One Piece. Thank you
Wow.
for being here. Hell yes. You are a woman of culture.
I've never been more happy in my entire life.
That's
Every
probably not
time
true.
I hear a Boa Stan, it just makes me happy. Fuck
I
those.
was happy when Whitebeard took me on his ship.
Yo, screw
Boa's great.
those kittens. They deserved it. Being in
telling you,
Boa's
Boa-
way.
Boa is great. I love how she pisses off PETA, but I just love my girl Nami, bro. I love my girl Nami.
I mean, everyone
And
likes
Black
Nami,
Maria.
but come
Everyone
on.
likes Nami.
Black Maria,
but
bro.
Odin, though.
But
Like
Odin.
Moda. What am I even saying?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, where are we?
Yeah, so you were saying, Anime.
Yeah, so I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, so we had the whole thing about Yamato really wanting to leave Kaido behind. She's completely against her father, but she's been kind of like forced physically to stay there. She had those exploding handcuffs forced on her and everything. And she's hoping to leave and travel. And initially the plan was for Ace to come back and rescue everyone and defeat Kaido. And later we learned that Whitebeard never let him because Whitebeard knew he wasn't strong enough to take on Kaido. So Ace was desperate to get strong enough. Unfortunately, he was eventually killed, as we know, so he didn't get to do that. But now it's like Luffy is fulfilling that promise for Ace, both in terms of Otama? Was it
Otama.
Otama and Yamato. So very interesting.
Dude, I'll get so pissed off if Otama is end up able to control Kaido. That'd be such a shitty way to.
Well, yeah, because Otama shows up later and she's able to control that big dog thing, right?
Yeah, she's able to control animals with her fruit, right? And technically, Kaido's a duck.
Well, no, he's not. He's technically some sort of human, isn't he? Anyway, we can get to that later.
We'll get to it
that's
after.
In the last. That's in 999. But what else do we have? So we had Kaido and Big Mom declaring that they will capture the ancient weapons and find the One Piece.
One Piece.
I thought
Which
that
is
was a
pretty
pretty huge deal. And oh, bro,
agree.
the funniest moment. Do you know which moment I mean?
I hope you're referring to the moment with Orochi.
Yes.
Yo, I
Dude.
knew you'd love that.
That made me so happy.
after all of that build up with Orochi being the Shogun and all that stuff, Kaido's just like, you know what, fuck this guy, and he just cuts his head clean off,
Dude.
and that's it.
I don't know
So,
why
honest-
it being so anticlimactic made it so freaking good and bro, I literally like jumped up and was so happy when that happened. Fuck Orochi.
Bro, I was so surprised.
A garbage character.
Honestly, I couldn't believe that for this long, for 20 plus years, Kaido put up with this guy. So I was surprised that he,
Although,
that he
to
was
be
alive
honest,
this long.
I will be frank. We know, what's it called? Orochi's devil fruit is like this 8-headed Hydra thing that, like, you cut off a head, another one grows kind of vibe.
no.
Yeah, it's
come
very,
on.
very likely.
I think it's likely.
No, we saw him not. No, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I hate to ruin your burst your bubble, but I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if the lad.
I was thinking
I
the
totally,
exact same thing, but
I totally forgot he even had a devil fruit. I was just like, fuck this,
on the
man.
bright side, he was
Sorry.
in his like normal form when it happened. So maybe, it's just like this character sucks. Let's just kill him. I think that would be better writing than him coming back and it making sense. High IQ.
No, it would
Imagine
be-
him coming back just to get slapped again.
I mean,
Even
that would be
Kinemon
pretty
be able
pog.
to beat him.
That'd be pretty great.
Because if you think about it, Kaido basically says Wano is canceled. Okay, from now on, this will be the seat of my pirate empire. You samurai and your culture and traditions. That's it. That's over. This is now a paradise for pirates and my home base, and you can suck it.
And it's funny because, like, even a moment before Orochi died, he thought he actually had leverage. You know, he's like, "Wait, Kaido, what do you say? The flower capital is my territory." And he's like, "Yeah, no."
I'm Kaido, please.
I know, and I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, what was Orochi thinking? You're making allies with this guy who doesn't need you at all. When you think about it, right?
True.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So then all hell breaks loose. We have the Kozuki and their allies attacking in the hopes of saving Momo before he is executed. Then a huge battle erupts. Kaido goes dragon mode. Sanji uses the invisibility suit to save Momo. It was a pretty epic Sanji moment. I love this moment. So I had to bring that up. We had Big Mom getting in on the fight. All the Straw Hats together preparing for the final showdown. Like, there was a lot of great moments there.
And even
And
Momonosuke, who's not exactly he hasn't, been established as the chadliest of characters, but
He's a
push
kid.
comes to shove, this man, he stood up to it and he's like, Kaido, I am going to be the next shogun of Wano. Which is pretty huge.
Yeah, he didn't just beg for his life or say that his name isn't Odin. Oh, Kozuki, he's not Odin's son. Because Kaido's like, if you say that you're just some random kid, I'll let you live. But he's like, no, I am the next shogun. I am the son of Kozuki Odin. And then, of course, Yamato's like, no, my son.
Dude, no,
Which is-
I really like Momo. I think Momo's a good character.
Yeah, honestly, in this arc alone, he didn't have a lot of time, but the few moments he had really shaped him up. Like, I appreciate that we got, introduced him when he was a bit of a pussy. And I'm happy to see that he's grown. He's never been one of my favorite characters, but I do respect the lad.
Yeah, same here. Like, I mean, he is a kid, so you understand his behavior. But
Yeah, of
when you
course.
compare him to all these different Chads, including his father, the ultimate Chad, it's hard for him to stand out. But it's understandable because of him being a kid, but he's definitely growing, and, he's earned our respect, I think.
And I think it's pretty cool that in that chapter where Kaido's holding Momo and's like, who say your name? I am Momonosuke Kozuki. I will be the next shogun of Wano. And then the 9 scabbards all attack Kaido at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, also in terms of Momo, we have to also mention that he tried to escape Kanjuro. He stabbed him and stuff, and then he got beat for it. So, yeah, he wasn't just like, oh yeah, please let me go or anything like that. He had honor.
And also, it's nice that, Kaido got when he got attacked by the scabbards, he gets PTSD flashbacks to Odin slapping him when they actually fought.
Yes.
And
yes.
Odin saying, "Don't underestimate my samurai."
Yeah, because Kaido's one, greatest enemy seems to be Odin, especially psychologically. Like, he can't forget Odin, and which is why I think Yamato, grabs onto Odin so much, because it is the antithesis of Kaido.
So obviously the scabbards know how to injure Kaido as well, and I'm really Luffy obviously learned while he was in the prison. I wonder if Zoro could injure Kaido, because that's something he wants to do.
I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Zoro's kind of a Chad too.
He's pretty
Yeah, so-
Chadly, I must say. And
It's
now
that
he
same
is using
ability-
the Enma. He
It's
is using the
symbolic
Enma,
of
which
the
is the
fact-
sword
right.
that Odin used, right?
Oh yeah, Zoro will definitely be able to do it. I mean, that's the whole point with the Odin sword for sure. And although if Yamato learns about those swords, it's gonna be some shit going down. But
Give me my swords, your swords.
yeah. So it's that same power that Luffy uses to take off the exploding handcuffs, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like
Okay.
it's hard to describe, but it's kind of like hockey, and like it's not just on the impact; it actually like radiates your body and goes like is able to impact beyond like the initial blow or the initial scales of Kaido. So like he could internally damage Kaido in a way that like the swords are kind of different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it called?
Yeah, it's Ryo. It's
Ryo,
I
yeah,
think.
that's what it is.
There was also some like side stuff, like Lola and Saffron's dad cover story was kind of weird, but also heartwarming.
I like that.
We had Drake being busted for being a spy, so he ends up fighting against Kaido's forces and on the same side as Luffy. That was pretty cool.
But I mean, you just mentioned what's it called? You mentioned beige real quick. With beige included, pretty much every single supernova is accounted for right now, except for the
Bonnie.
Mad Monk Uruge. Or
What about
well,
Jewelry
Bonnie
Bonnie?
is in the Reverie.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
She's
thought
at
you
the
meant
Reverie.
like here.
We know she's there.
Yeah,
No.
wasn't Rouge or whatever also kind of plotting with Kaido?
Aruj was the only person
I
that
think
didn't get captured by Kaido. I'm pretty sure.
Well, it said that Aruj beat Cracker.
Yeah, exactly.
No?
Yeah, Aruj beat Cracker and was able to escape.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, pretty huge. Pretty huge.
Cracker's
Yeah,
still the
I'm
best character
sure-
in One Piece, bro.
Yeah.
Cracker's pretty
Cracker.
sick.
All right,
power
people are
of
saying it was
biscuit.
the other commander.
Oh, Snack. Okay.
Snack.
All right. Not Cracker.
But crackers are
Too bad.
snacks. I don't get it.
Yo, that's actually a sick point. And before we move on to the next chapter that you wanted to talk about, the fight with Kaido versus the Scabbards included the Sulong form.
Yeah, so I want to say that the Sulong forms are actually really cool, both aesthetically and in terms of like power.
I agree aesthetically. I think they're too overpowered.
No.
But I don't really care.
I mean, you have to have strong powers for them to be relevant at this point in the story.
Yeah, it
Like-
would
Yeah,
be
it's
hard
like
to make them
Kinemon's
relevant
garbage.
without something like that. And it wasn't like it just brought it up now. It was brought up all the way back in Zoe, right?
Yeah, and also it is a temporary power that can only be maintained under certain conditions, like full moon and for a certain amount of time. So, it is limited. It's not like this OP, broken thing.
I agree. I think it was well done for like to find a way to make them relevant and powerful. It was referenced early on. They were the strongest of their kind.
Okay, with it, honestly, it's the powers in One Piece. The power scaling in One Piece. The Scabbards in
and they put
general are
restrictions on it.
kinda
I'm just
garbage.
saying it was well done for them trying to do it.
I will not lie. The Scabbards in One Piece are kind of garbage.
I'm not in love with the Scabbards either, but I do like
I think
Dog
they're
and
cool.
Catboy.
I wish I would like the Scabbards more. I feel like one complaint with Wano is I think Odin thinks we care about the Scabbards more than we do.
Oda.
Odin or Oda?
Oda. I think Oda thinks we care about the Scabbards more than we
See,
do.
I do
I don't
care about
actually
the
like
dog and the
any of the
cat
Scabbards.
boy. I don't remember their names, like something Mushi or whatever.
Yeah, Dog and Catboy, I don't love them either.
No, they're the
were
best
cool.
Scabbards because we actually care about. At least I care about them because we got the whole Zoe arc with them against what's it called?
Mammoth Boy.
Exactly, them against Jack and how far they were willing to go, and then Raizo is here moment. Like that just made me care for their characters and like them.
Eh.
I mean, I like the Scabbards. I don't love them. Like, let's be real. I like Yamato right now more than any of them.
Oh,
is
by
kinda sad.
far.
Which is kind of sad because Yamato's been in like 4 chapters. But, what can you do?
No, but like the Scabbards, you'd think Oda is so good at developing characters. Kinemon was around since Punk Hazard, and the man could not get me to give a shit. Literally.
But he's so big brain, bro.
Dude, and they try so hard. Oh my god. They try so hard. I feel like there are some scenes that it's like, bruh, oh, Mumkey Jones and Jet, guys, Kinemon is amazing. Come on. All right. You didn't like Interspecies reviews. You could shut up now. But anyway. But, yo, what are you saying? Stunk is a better character than Kinemon.
Yo, so in terms of, before Nux goes on a rant about interspecies reviewers, in terms of the battle against the Scabbards, I really have to say that some of those panels were absolutely amazing, especially chapter 992. Like, there was some amazing panels there of the battle, and then the whole joint Paradise Totsuka! That was freaking awesome moment.
Yeah. The panels were cool, but they didn't do anything. So, like, okay, great.
Well, they're
cool
up against
panels.
Kaido.
But they, at the end of the day, they would have been more useful if they would have fought the Numbers, or the Flyers, or the Beast Boys, or whatever the hell other number organization he has.
But true. I mean, if they beat Kaido, you would have been like, bro,
but
stupid.
It kind of gave us some hope since they were able to like do damage as well.
Yeah, they did the Odin style. Sam pointed out in the chat, they did the Odin two-sword style. That was epic.
It was epic, I agree, but it was only epic because of Odin. It wasn't epic because of the Scabbards.
I know, it's like, that's why Odin reminds me of Kamina so much, because it's his legacy keeps looming over the events of the future even after he's gone.
Well, that was kind of the whole point of like a big part of the backstory is how he influenced the people around him, right?
Look, I don't need to continue this rant. I said what I said. I'm satisfied with what I said.
Fair enough. Okay.
Move on with life.
And I will say that, you know, it is realistic because if you look at, you know, the story of the 47 Ronin, you know, samurai are very loyal to their lord even after death.
Thank you, Anime.
No, I get that they're loyal, but I don't care about them. Yo, Mumkey Jones, Simeon Jimmy, whatever the hell you want to call yourself, bro. If you want to talk, feel free to pop into our Discord call. I sent you a link to your Discord.
What else do I want to talk about? So Kaido at one point says, death is what completes a person. And yet he himself cannot die. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that was, I think it was it last week or the week before where I was saying that one of the thing that Kaido is constantly trying to do is die in a meaningful way, where all of the people, like all his contemporaries, managed to accomplish this. Odin changed the world with his death. Whitebeard changed the world with his death. Roger changed the world with his death.
Yes, and Kaido cannot seem to die. Yeah.
Right, Kaido cannot. And that's why, I think, the biggest piece of evidence for me that Kaido will not die in the Wano arc.
And the other thing, though, is Odin really hangs like a shadow over Kaido because of that. Like, Odin had this perfect, meaningful death that, you know, turned him into a legend, and yet Kaido is just still there, you know?
Yeah. Yo, Sim Jim, what up?
Yo. What's up, guys?
How's it going,
man?
What's
up, Jimmy?
It's always good
All
to
I
have
want to
you,
say,
bro.
I got to tell you about Kinemon. Do you not remember in Dressrosa when he disguised himself as Doflamingo? That was the funniest shit.
I would agree that Kinemon's a funny character. I'm not in love with him, though.
He's not, I mean, he'll never be as much of a Chad as Odin, but I thought he was, I mean, I think he's pretty good.
Or sexy Odin.
Absolutely not. You're right.
I do
Odin
like
and
that
sexy
part
Odin.
where Kinemon deceived everyone by giving the wrong plans completely on purpose to what's-his-face before he betrayed
Bro,
them.
honestly, that was a stroke of genius in terms of Oda's writing. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
that was hilarious. I love that.
It doesn't reflect well on Odin. I mean, sorry, on Kinemon, but it was a hilarious twist.
I like his character arc because in the Odin flashback, wasn't he responsible for the giant boar monster that was destroying the town?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
like
then Odin
he's just a
covers
big
up-
loser who learns responsibility, and now he has like the responsibility of his entire country on his back, and he's completely overwhelmed, and there's not much he can do about it, but he still fights on. I think that's honorable and respectful.
It's honorable and respectful, I agree, but it doesn't make him a good character, bro.
Yeah,
Like-
I disagree. I think he's a great character.
I think he serves the role that they're trying to do with the Scabbards.
Even I don't, because I don't care about the Scabbards. If he would have, you don't understand. If they would have been on their boats going to Onigashima and a stray bullet would have hit him and he would have died, I would have not blinked twice, okay? I would have just been like, finally.
I would kill for my boy Kappa.
Okay.
Kawamatsu?
Yes. No, but yeah, the scabbards are okay, but I mean, you know, they're not the highlight, but that doesn't matter. What was I gonna say? So we had a consistent theme with our boy Sanji. He fell into Black Maria's trap, and I mean, who wouldn't love to be trapped by such a large, voluptuous woman?
I really do
And-
hope all the scabbards sacrifice themselves and die in the Wano arc in order to save Wano. I will not lie to you.
I mean, I think
Okay.
that'd be
All
a,
of
I think that'd
all
be a
the
good way.
scabbards.
That would be a
Every
very
single one of the scabbards.
that
But
would
can we
make
talk
sense
about-
though. That would be within their
Listen.
characters to do that, like sacrifice themselves to save like Momonosuke and maybe protect the Straw Hats who have the strongest potential of defeating Kaido in the future if this plan goes south.
And if something like that happens, you know, Momonosuke becomes the new leader of Wano, and Yamato joins the Straw Hats, and everyone's happy.
Nux, let me ask you this, and I'll jump out because I don't want to take over the whole show. But
no, we
Nux-
love you here, bro.
Oh, okay. Without spoiling anything, are you telling me you felt nothing from the Kinemon moment in Chapter 1000?
No, I felt nothing.
Oh my God, you're a heartless monster.
I felt
Anyway.
worse for the going merry.
Well, that's fair. I mean, yeah.
Anyways, let's not get into spoilers,
That's the
but
book, bro.
I will say that back to Sanji, bro. I loved how he's trapped by the spider, you know, Black Maria spider thing, and then all of these like animalistic women are maliciously approaching at him like it's menacing, and Sanji's like, "Look at all these women. Is this paradise?" And they're like, "What's wrong with this guy?"
Or there was a moment where Sanji says like he loves her, and I cracked up so hard at that moment.
Yeah, he's like, "Do you like me?" Like kind of sarcastically, like I'm gonna kill you, kind of thing. And he's like, "I love you." Bro, I love that because it's like I would be the same. I'm like, "Oh, look at all these interesting women. I should be scared, but no.
Yeah,
I don't know."
I'm
This is
trying.
how
Like,
every horror
Sanji has
isekai
that
starts.
moment. Meanwhile, in the same chapter, Zoro takes out Apu.
Yes. Man, that Zoro moment is great. Like, Zoro has just had enough. He's like, "I'm sick of this bullshit." He just crushes a poo. It was both
Wait, hold
badass
on.
and
So
hilarious.
before that, there was Queen like poisoning everyone around and was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ha! I will now give the only antidote to a poo," and a poo's like, "God damn it, no!" And everyone's chasing a poo around. Zoro's just standing there. They're all going crazy. X-Drake is losing his mind. Chopper is turning into a zombie. Everyone's going nuts. Zoro's just standing there, and he's just like, "Okay, slash. That's it. The end. Moving on." Yeah.
And then we have Chopper, he's the best doctor in all of One Piece, and he's like, all these people are freezing to death. I know the solution. How about you guys just get warmer? That was it.
Your
Medical
brain is
enhancer,
large.
wowee.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of the whole Chopper thing because like you're really gonna have him in the middle of a big battle coming up with like an antidote, bro. Like I know that's his like one thing that he can do, so it's him actually being useful. But it just seemed like that little side plot with Queen and the poisoning was a bit like, eh.
I feel they needed to do that to give some of the Straw Hats something to do.
Yeah, probably. Like we had Frankie
If
doing
it's
some
solved
cool
that
stuff.
easy, though, it kind of feels like unnecessary filler. Like he needed to pad it out so that he could get to chapter 1000 when he wanted to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh,
if
and bro-
Marco's flames can just cure everybody, that seems like a big waste of time.
Yeah, so Marco's Devil Fruit, it seems to be a mixture of both a Zone and a Logia, because isn't he able to like make things go through his body when he's in that Phoenix form?
Well, yeah, it's because he's like he's a phoenix, and phoenixes are made out of fire. It's still a mythical zone.
It's a mythical
It's not a-
zone, and it's just because Phoenixes are fire. in
Yeah,
this
but
case.
yeah, it is a mythical zone, but it just like seemed like had the properties of
rubber
a
and gum.
Logia.
Yes.
That too.
It can't
Yeah,
cure,
it's-
by the way. It's only temporarily like stopping them from freezing, right?
It is a very interesting Devil Fruit, though. It's very cool.
I mean, I will say, if not for Law, he probably would have my the devil fruit in the whole series that I'd want most. After Law, it'd probably be Marco.
Nah, I'm a Kizaru.
Yeah,
Um,
you can fly, you can heal. It's got like all the best things you could want wrapped in one devil fruit.
Who?
Marco.
Yeah, dude, Marco's amazing. He can fly. He can freaking fly.
Yeah, no, it's great, but I would still prefer the water Logia fruit.
There is none yet.
There isn't our One Piece D&D session.
Yeah,
Nice.
Mizu no Mi.
And we gave it to a
Nice.
total bitch boy. Anyway.
I'll be that bitch boy, bro. Yeah, so then we have Kaido making the entire island fly. How exactly, I'm not sure. But he's planning to land it on top of the flower capital, basically wipe out Wano during the festival, like all the population, and then just establish Wano as his new pirate paradise.
Well, obviously it's because he's a duck. That's why he could make it fly.
Probably.
Most likely,
Well, here's
right?
my question. Do you guys think that little Momo is going to have to use his dragon fruit to catch the island and prevent it from crushing everybody?
I don't think that
Yo, I
little
didn't
dragon
even
can
think
pull
of
that
that.
off.
I don't think he can either, but he is Odin's son, so
It's
I
true.
mean, I could see Oda doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
he
do-
hasn't done anything with that dragon form, but I feel like with Kaido having the big dragon form, it's gonna come into play at some point. I just hope we get to see the dragon that what's his name? Kanjuro drew on Zou. I hope that dragon comes back.
The one that was so pathetic and sad, he's basically begging to be killed.
Yeah, but it was hilarious. He was super cute. Even Robin was like, he's so cute. Yeah, so after that, the whole flying island thing, which is just like adds another element of craziness to the battle. We learned that Ace and Yamato were friends, and that Ace came to kill Kaido in the past, but Kaido wasn't there. And so then the whole thing of Ace wanting to return and fulfill the promise of killing Kaido and freeing everyone on Wano, but he couldn't fulfill that promise, and now Luffy seems to be the one who is destined to fulfill it.
I'm just re-looking through chapter 999 right now, and I misread something. I thought Nami in this one chapter, one panel that was talking to Otama, I thought the speech bubble was covering her horns, and that was actually, what's it called? Yamato, because the two panels side by side, one's Nami and one's Yamato, and their faces and the damage they took look so similar to me.
Yo.
Speaking of Nami, what did you think of that moment when Nami's about to be killed by Ulti and she can't, like, she refuses to admit that Luffy won't be Pirate King?
I was about to say that. That is one of my favorite Nami moments in all of One Piece.
Oh yes, yeah. Thank you for reminding me, Jimmy, because I forgot about that. But yeah, that was great. Who was the one that threatened Nami at that point?
Ulti, I think.
Ulti.
Yeah, and it was like, and even Usopp was like, "Oh, just lie, Nami. Who cares?" But
Because
Nami's like,
this is after Usopp got head smashed. Usopp was on the ground, like, quaking minutes from death. And then she walks up to Nami and says, I'm about to destroy you. Your captain says he's going to beat Kaido and become the Pirate King. And then Nami's like, I'm sorry, he's an idiot. Don't headbutt me, please. He's an idiot. And Ulti's like, say it. Say your captain will not become Pirate King.
yeah, and
then-
Usopp's like, "Just say it, Nami. Who cares?" And she's like, "Luffy will never give up on being the Pirate King."
What an impactful moment. Just you guys talking about it gave me goosebumps. Genuinely.
Yo, we're bringing back the Nami Appreciation Corner, boys. Nami Appreciation Corner.
Yeah,
It
these
is-
fuckers who say Nami after the time skip sucks. Go read that chapter again.
Yeah, bro, Nami's my girl. I love Nami.
Yamato's
Like,
better.
it's true
No, I'm
that
kidding.
she's not, she's not a
Nami's
top
okay.
tier Straw Hat fighter, so she's never gonna be in, on the main stage most of the time. But she is a solid 9 out of 10 waifu, bro.
She did help defeat Cracker.
Yes. Yes, and
Yeah.
then we did have the whole Big Mom and Zeus moment, and Big Mom wanted to kill Nami, and then Frankie smashes Big Mom with his tank thing.
Oh yeah, we
in
forgot
the
about that.
face.
Yeah, we also had that very epic standoff. Typical shonen style. There's the flying six or whatever, and there's 6 Straw Hats that's gonna have one-on-ones. Black Maria versus Sanji, Triceratops guy versus Frankie. Then you have Cat Dude versus Jinbei. You had your typical one-on-one.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Do you think Sanji will actually fight Black Maria, or is he gonna get saved by Brooke and them?
Bro, I think he's going to overwhelm Black Maria with his
Simp
manliness.
Oh yes, I
Yeah,
can't
'cause-
say
because-
that.
Charming.
Bro, she's
I
expecting
can
him
see
to be
that.
afraid of her, and he's gonna be like, "Girl, I will rock your world."
He's gonna
so-
simp her to death.
Literally simp her
just-
to death.
she's gonna be like, "Oh, are you scared?" And he's like, "Bring it on, girl." And I thought, honestly, I thought that Briggs would be very excited about that scene because we had some snack girls there too.
Schneck girls, let's go. I need to go back and reread that.
Yeah, there was all sorts of interesting girls in that scene with Black Maria and Sanji.
Yeah, and it's cool that you know, at the end of that chapter where they Momo is with Momo's with, God damn it, with Yamato there. Yamato, right? And they see that massive dragon statue like destroyed on the ground, and Yamato's like, "Oh, that my friend broke that. He came a few years ago to kill my father. His name is Ace." And it's like,
yes.
Yeah,
and then Ace, when he was fighting Yamato, he was like, "Your father might have imprisoned you, but don't imprison yourself mentally. Like, you don't have to serve him. You can be your own person and do your own thing." That was dope.
And then they bonded. It was pretty huge.
And it was just like Ace, kind of. It was like on character for Ace.
Honestly, I respect Ace more in like this little flashback with Yamato than during most of his lifetime.
I thought you were gonna say then Kinemon's whole life.
Oh, dude, Kinemon's garbage, man. I respect.
God damn it! Stop.
You don't understand, man. I respect Khalifa's fishnets more than I respect Kinemon.
You're breaking my heart.
So, would you rather have Karish become a Straw Hat or Kinemon?
Oh, don't even.
That's a hard question, right?
No, it's not a hard question. You're asking me, will I drop One Piece or continue reading? That's what you're asking.
Bro.
I mean, Momo might become a Straw Hat, but I don't think Kinemon's going to survive the arc.
Yeah, I don't think
I could see Momo becoming honorary Straw Hat. I think his place is in Wano. He'll never travel around with them.
Momo's gonna stay in Wano, but Yamato, I think, could join because that's been her whole ambition the whole time. Yeah. And I'm definitely down for that. And sorry, Carrot, but if I'm choosing between Yamato and Carrot, I'm choosing Yamato 100%. I don't mind Carrot,
please.
But
that shouldn't even be a question.
Bro, sexy Odin over Yamato. I mean, over Carrot any day of the week.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I have respect for Carrot's Sulong form, but in her normal form, she's just going around saying, "Oh, Cho, bro, good job." Like, she's just simping Chopper, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand simping Usopp, but you just simping Chopper?
And then I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you were saying?
Well, in chapter 999, Oda typically does not introduce an evil scheme without it actually playing out. And Big Mom and Kaido have a conversation saying, "Hey, we need to kidnap Nico Robin." So if people think that the raid will end in failure, I think it would be maybe Big Mom kidnapping Robin and getting away. And it's a new Save Robin arc coming up.
I think that's very possible.
It's true. So near the end, like we're talking like chapter 999, we had Big Mom and tell Kaido to keep Nico Robin alive because they need her to read the poneglyphs to find Laugh Tale, because their whole goal now is finding Laugh Tale in the One Piece. And then we also learned in that chapter that after Rocks fell, you know, my boy Rocks, Zebek boys.
Yeah.
After
Zebek boys.
Yes, thank you. After he fell, Big Mom says that she gave Kaido the ancient model of the fish fruit.
Okay, before that, which I know this is so much more important that I have to mention it, Big Mom is kind of tsundere. Hey, it's not like, don't insult me, it's not like I like you or anything, I just see you as a little brother.
Very cool.
That's how I read it, at least.
And I like that it's called the fish fruit. I think that's so much cooler than just a dragon fruit, especially because all the dinosaurs are, you know, dragon fruit, model, whatever.
I don't get it, Nuts. Like, since when is a fish a duck?
I will explain everything. So, I mean, the second I read that, obviously, the first thought was like Gyarados Magikarp vibes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reason why Magikarp evolves into Gyarados is because the legendary I think it's Chinese, not Japanese. Is it Chinese?
I'm pretty sure it's Chinese, like that dragon that like, Gyarados
the legendary
like.
Chinese carp that will climb the waterfall, and if it can actually reach the top, then it will become a dragon. And it's a Chinese-looking dragon like Kaido is, which kind of looks like Gyarados, the Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's why Gyarados is actually a flying type, despite the fact that he can't fly.
Right, precisely. So I really like that that fact, especially because the only way to get into Wano is with carp that climb up waterfalls. So I think that's just so cool. It's just really cool, typical Oda style symbolism, and I really like that.
Yeah,
But
and I'm guessing
me,
that initially the fruit was different. It wasn't a dragon, but I'm guessing that Kaido awakened it, and then the fish became a dragon.
We're gonna get a flashback of him spending 20 years swimming as a carp, and one day he climbs the waterfall into Wano, and boom, he's a dragon.
Yeah, bro.
dude, we still did not get a Kaido flashback. Can you believe it?
That's crazy.
Every villain has a flashback before they're defeated. So, I mean, at least since the New World, for sure. So, I am waiting for that Kaido flashback. Until he has a flashback, he's not going down.
We're gonna get a flashback, and he's gonna be like, "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming."
Yeah, right.
Well, according to the act structure, Act 1 was 15 chapters, Act 2 was 30. So if we think that Act 3 will be 45, Act 3 should be ending in 2 or 3 chapters from now. So maybe there's like a big tragedy, and then Act 4 starts with the Kaido backstory.
Ooh.
I mean, honestly, we're not spoiling Chapter 1000 here. Briggs and Animac haven't read it.
Right.
I've seen Chapter 1000. But we'll talk about that next week, so...
Next week on the One Piece Virgin.
Yeah, so
But
next
the
week,
thing that I
reminder,
wanted to
guys.
mention- the thing I wanted to mention before wrapping up was the discussion between Yamato, Momonosuke, and Otama. That little chat where Otama's like, "Wait, Ace's little brother is Luffy," and then it's like,
No, but was that Yamato or Nami? Remember what Briggs
So
said?
Nami
Yamato.
was talking to Otama, and Yamato was talking to Momo.
Yes.
No, right. So Nami says that Ace is because Otama knew Luffy, and Ace. So Nami's like Ace's brother, and she's like freaking out, and Momonosuke's like Ace was Roger's son and Luffy's brother, and Yamato's like, oh, and even better, his name has the initial D, and she pulls out a book. What is this book?
It must be Odin's journal, right?
Yo!
Yep.
Because Yamato earlier mentioned that Odin had a journal and she somehow found it. So
Yup.
Only
Yeah,
One
so
Piece
that's-
can make me hype about a book.
Odin's journal hype. Well, honestly, bro, even if like they revealed Odin's toilet paper, I'd be pretty hyped.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so it's gonna be crazy next week, guys. We're doing chapter 1000. Make sure you tune in for that. Live would be preferable on Twitch, twitch.tv/rankcafe, or just rankcafe.tv, because we're gonna be want to build off of you guys and your comments, in terms of how to move on with the podcast next and all that fun stuff. And yeah, man, I am super excited. Wano has definitely become a much better arc than at the beginning. Because at the beginning, I thought it was pretty mid. Like, we didn't have that many stakes in Wano because we just came to this country, and obviously it was important for Momo and them, but not for us as newcomers. But now I feel like with this third act, it really shaped up into a great arc.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, the arcs are getting longer, so there's going to be a lot more build up and slower pacing in the beginning, right?
Which is
And
annoying when they're only releasing 30 chapters a year.
Yeah, very understandable. And it's so sad because I feel like I forget so much. I have a goldfish brain. Like, I forgot who Denjiro was. So when the reveal happened, I'm like, wait, I remember him kind of. But if I read it all in one sitting, I feel like I would have been freaking out.
Chat mentioned that there was a Corazon flashback for Law, which I do remember it, but now I don't remember exactly what happened.
What? That's such a good flashback, dude. You got to go back and reread that. Also, Odin's flashback saved Wano. That's when it really picked up.
Honestly, I
agree.
completely agree with Briggs. Without Odin's flashback, Wano would be a mid-tier arc.
Yeah, like, honestly, I was kind of not caring anymore about what was happening in Wano, especially after we got that Reverie recap, where it's like, bro, it's so much more interesting over there. But then we got the Odin flashback, and then it all started making sense again and being interesting.
Yo, Jimmy, what's your opinion on Wano as a whole?
Oh, I love Wano. I mean, I caught up here in Wano just half a year ago, and I've been loving it. It does suck. And Animac, you're about to feel this pain of being caught up to One Piece, and now you don't get to binge it anymore. It's truly painful.
Yeah, it's gonna be a new experience, but I mean, 1,000 chapters is a good time to catch up.
It's true.
Yeah, and we did with Law and Correspondent, we had the whole D, like what is the will of D, and
Yeah,
man,
and even Law and Robin talk about it in this part of Wano.
Yes, because Robin's like, oh Law, you have the D too.
She wants the D.
Yeah, she wants no.
She wants to learn about the D. My apologies.
Yeah,
I mean, like I'm
Robin's
thinking
been surrounded by people with the letter D. Even the most, I think the most forgotten D, Jaguar D. Saul, you know, the giant dude that helped her escape when she was a kid.
Yeah, so I guess you are saying that she loves the D.
Yeah,
You're saying that she's been surrounded by the D.
she's been surrounded by.
My
the
guess
D.
for what
Can't
the
get
D
enough
is, the will of D, I think it's some sort of reincarnated will that is destined to kind of clash with the celestial dragons during this upcoming war that keeps being hyped up, because the dragons fear the D, and we have the whole idea of Roger saying, oh, we weren't here at the right time, and some form of will reincarnation thing is happening, in my opinion.
And I think it would be huge if Roa Noa D Zoro actually decides to really try against Kaido, because to be fair, this man hasn't even fought like an all-out fight since the New World. So I think that would be pretty sick.
Animac, if you had to guess what the D initial, like what word it stands for, do you have any guesses on your mind?
Well, it depends what language. Like in English, it could stand for destiny. It could stand for
Dragon
Dong?
Slayer.
Did you say dong?
Dawn, like the dawn of the new world.
Ooh.
Like the name of the first chapter, Romance Dawn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
I think it stands for
I've
duck.
heard that one.
It could be devil because they're like the devils against the celestial dragons.
Ooh, I like that. I was kind of hoping that it doesn't actually stand for anything, and the D isn't actually a letter; it's a crescent moon. Because I have this whole theory that I think a lot of people believe in, that the celestial dragons are not of this earth. Like they wear those spacesuits and those helmets and stuff. So I like the idea that the D is a crescent moon. It's the moon starting to be overshadowed.
I feel like having like kind of Animac reminding me about the fact that the celestial dragons were royals from like a bunch of countries, and then they became celestial dragons, like makes me less believe that theory, but I do want it to be true.
The One Piece is on the moon. I saw a Nuxtaku video all about it. You guys should go check that out.
I do think that the moon is something. It could be one of the ancient weapons. It could be.
I would not be
like
surprised if the moon was the One Piece. Just by the fact that it's been so important so far. It controls the tides of the sea, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And Luffy wants to be the freest man in the sea. So if you could control the ocean,
Luffy could pull a Gru from Despicable Me and steal the moon. That'd be huge.
Whoa.
If the moon is an ancient weapon, I bet it would be powerful enough to destroy the Red Line.
Well, I mean, Uranus is an ancient weapon, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I've seen theories and people talk about it. It could be a smile, the D. Like even like we got to see this so often. Like before Luffy was about to get executed, or when Roger was about to get executed, or even as Odin dies, you see that smile. And Joy Boy is synonymous with a smile as well, and the D makes that same shape, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to find out. I do think that the moon is probably either an ancient weapon that was used in that ancient war 800 years ago, or something to do with the One Piece for sure. And if the moon itself is the One Piece and you have to travel there, then perhaps there's some kind of like
a super knock-up stream.
Wow.
Maybe there's like a celestial event that has to happen every 800 years or something, where the moon is aligned in a way where you can actually travel to it, and then that's why Roger was like, we're too early, we can't get there yet, or something.
I was thinking Raftel might be, you know, massive space elevator. It gets you up there.
But then why wouldn't Roger go there?
Because he needed what they called the mermaid
Space
princess, right?
Yeah, and she was
To go to
But
space.
why would he need her?
But hey, that's just a theory.
Because space is just the endless sea of stars.
Yeah, but you know what's Noah is definitely relevant. So maybe Noah is actually a spaceship to take you to the moon.
Maybe.
We all know the One Piece is Binks's brew.
Yo.
Anyway,
I think
we're gonna.
that honestly, the D just stands for big dick energy.
Nux, fuck off, bro.
I mean, they do all like all the D's have big D energy. I just
Or what if the D is the friends they made along?
yeah.
No, the reason I said fuck off is because I used that in the Rank Cafe Isekai. Big D energy. Anyway, yeah, so I do want to do an episode at some point, like with Tekking speculating about what the One Piece is with all the evidence, because I'm so interested in the Void Century and the One Piece and all that stuff. So I want to do a special episode just on that after we're completely caught up. And yeah, I think we can call it a day if you guys agree.
I agree.
D stands for deeper than Evangelion.
Thank you, Nux and Briggs. Thank you, Jimmy.
Problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Hell
Mac and
yeah,
Jim.
man.
Mac and Jim.
That's right. Never forget it.
Yeah.
Never.
All right, guys. Again, we're back next week. Thank you for being here with us on this journey. Thank you for being part of our Nakama. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang. The D stands for it was me, Dio.
That would be huge. Imagine if Oda actually committed to the biggest JoJo reference of all time. The entire One Piece story just ends with a JoJo reference. Would that not be the greatest thing ever?
It would be, but you know that Keijo has a JoJo's reference?
Yes.
Okay.
Keijo has JoJo reference. Keijo has
Fate.
Fate Stay Night references.
Yeah, I was watching the episode yesterday where like a character, like a woman that is drawn like a JoJo character, attacks another woman, and the other woman's like Muda, and just turns around and just like with
Butt
her
slaps
hard
her.
as rock, yeah, with her hard as rock ass, she just like completely negates her ass move.
Have you guys mentioned on this show, I don't remember if I heard it from you or from somebody else, but the theory that when Luffy awakens his devil fruit and he can turn things into rubber, that would be the ultimate counter to Blackbeard's earthquake fruit?
Huh.
Whoa, I never
We
even
never
thought of
meant-
that.
Kind of like if he does the Doflamingo style awakening, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm so happy
Yeah, that's
they introduced Ryu or whatever it's called, Ryo, like a different type of hockey, rather than just giving him another form to beat Kaido.
But isn't
Yeah,
it
I appreciate
really?
that.
Isn't Ryo just a stronger version of armament Kaki? Like I don't think it's like
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it is.
perfecting it.
It's not like it's a completely new thing.
But we never
We've
heard of it
seen,
prior to it, right?
I think we've seen Rayleigh do it, right?
I'm not sure.
We just didn't know what it was.
Speaking of hockey, they're making a hockey anime with cute waifus.
That's true.
Pretty pog.
I saw that tweet and I immediately sent it to you.
I don't remember that, but sure.
This is so sad.
I'm sorry.
By the way, I think that Blackbeard shows up in Wano by the end.
Would not
Oh,
be
during the
surprised.
auctions, he
Oh.
removes the collars. Wow, Axel, good remembering there.
Yeah. No, also, as we were saying, speaking of Blackbeard and Wano, I would not at all be surprised if Blackbeard attacks Whole Cake during Wano. Like, he's a huge opportunist. Like, he really hones in on when the enemy's weak and in disarray.
Yes. So I do agree that he will at some point be relevant in Wano, whether, like you said, attacking something else or showing up in Wano too, because he knows about this alliance of the two emperors, and he knows that's going to be an issue for him if he doesn't nip it in the bud somehow.
Well, or if Luffy nips it in the bud.
Yeah, but you think Blackbeard's just going to stand there and be like, okay, Luffy, good luck, bro.
How pissed are you guys gonna be if Sabo getting captured and like, let's say it's a carbon copy of Marineford, but now they have to stop Sabo from being executed? Would you guys be pissed if he just did the same shit again?
I don't think we would, because
Depends how it's handled.
You see, no one out there is actually saying that Sabo was captured. Everyone's saying Sabo was killed.
I thought it wasn't clear what happened.
Well,
they're saying he was killed, but we never saw it. We didn't see a body, and Sabo was supposed to be dead already, so we don't buy it. But
I mean, I don't buy that Sabo's dead, obviously, but no one's saying he's captured. I don't think we're gonna get a repeat. In this we've read 1,000 chapters, and the most wanted man alive has yet to make his move.
I know, Dragon.
So we'll see what happens.
But it's really like a big Oda-ism to do what he did before, but bigger, like with Alabasta and Dressrosa just being kind of the same thing, but bigger. I could see like Marineford #2. We have to stop Sabo's execution, and now everybody's here.
But it's not exactly the same thing, but bigger either. Like, it was very similar. I do see the similarities for sure. But, like, the framing was different. Dressrosa was a land that was already conquered, and at the end of the day, it was only an intermediate stepping stone to get to Wano. It wasn't the finale of that saga. Whereas something like, for example, God damn it, if there would be another war, that would be the same thing, like literally the same format. And I don't think you would go about the same format. I think there's going to be one more war in One Piece, and I think it'll be the big finale. I mean, I guess you could say they're currently in a war, but I mean one more major war where everyone's involved.
Yeah, so this currently is not it, because we've been told many times that a new war is coming, like a major war, global war. It's been hinted at by Roger. In terms of the whole Joy Boy thing, it's been hinted at by Odin.
Blackbeard.
Yeah, so exactly. So yeah, there's a big like Marineford 2 type war coming.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be based off someone captured, but
no, yeah, because it's bigger. It's a bigger deal than that. I just can't wait to be when they get to Laugh Tale and they're like learn Joy Boy's identity. And they see a picture, and it's just
all along.
And it's just Buggy's face.
Oh,
Wow.
That's why Roger was dying laughing.
Yeah, he was laughing because it's a clown face. Get it?
Well, he knew Buggy.
Yeah, why do you think Buggy got sick so he couldn't go to Laugh Tale, bro? Like,
yeah, because he knew that the truth would be revealed.
Yeah.
Animac, if Kaido is defeated in this battle, who do you want to see get the final killing blow?
Huh. Interesting.
You a Zoro boy or a Luffy boy?
Sanji.
You know what? I don't think either of them.
Sanji's not killing Kaido.
Of course not.
I don't think either of them should be the ones to kill him, because that's not really.
I think Luffy's gonna have him really weak, and Zoro's gonna cut off his head, because the same way what's it called? What was the other swordsman who cut off a dragon?
See?
Oh, the guy who he got the sword from.
Ryuma,
right?
yes. So
Ryuma.
Yeah.
was known to cut off, decapitate a dragon in Wano, and it could, I was gonna say it could have been the previous user of Kaido's fruit, but Kaido doesn't have the dragon fruit, he has the fish fruit. But if the fish fruit was awakened by the previous user, then he could have also done it to that dragon, and yeah.
So I think a combo of Luffy and Zoro would be cool. Obviously, it's not as personal for them as someone from Wano, but I don't think anyone from Wano is gonna be taking out Kaido.
Well, Zoro has taken it pretty personally after everything that's happened, and he said he wanted to kill Orochi, so I could see Zoro killing Kaido.
I could too. I don't think Kaido's gonna die in this arc.
I don't think he's gonna die in this arc, but I still think it's inevitable that it'll happen, right?
He might die during that big war that's coming.
The thing is, either he's gonna change, like his character itself is gonna, after we learn more about him and we'll get his flashback, his actual character will have a 180, and we'll start to see him for someone else, and he'll change and actually have a noble death. I could see that.
I don't think anyone would kill Kaido on their own, though. I think it's gonna have to be a team effort.
I think that I could very easily see, now call me crazy if you want, but I would not be surprised if Kaido loses in Wano and ends up destroyed, ravaged. There's nothing left of his army. He's weakened, and he lives. He's weak, and he survives it because, you know, Kaido can't really die. And he's all pissed about it and stuff. And then Blackbeard comes out of nowhere, kills him, and takes his fruit.
Yeah, I think from a narrative standpoint, Kaido does need to be defeated, but Big Mom could kidnap Robin and run off to Elbaf, and then that's how we follow them for the next arc.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. But I could see him defeated, and then his actual death will be in a completely non-eventful way.
Super pathetic and
just
sad.
Kills him later.
Yeah.
Like in one off-shot panel, Blackbeard just kills him, and then has the strongest zone, the strongest Logia, and the strongest Paramecia fruit.
Oh
Yeah, so
shit, yo, thanks for the raid, Rant.